Welcome back to The Observable Unknown. Today's letter comes from Joan H. She writes, Dear Dr. Ray, I think of myself as an intelligent woman, but recently I've had more and more reasons to pause. I read and hear so much that flies in the face of conventional wisdom that I feel like my foothold is slipping. Was COVID a planned experiment? Are birds being replaced with surveillance drones? Are governments secretly controlled by oligarchs? Are people detained by ICE being used for Neuralink experiments? Are earthquakes and weather disasters technological warfare? Is human trafficking as widespread as I keep hearing? Are UAP videos proof that extraterrestrials are really here? I'm overwhelmed, and I'm sure you'll tell me to stop paying attention. But how can I? If the world is this crazy, shouldn't I stay informed so I can survive whatever happens next? Sincerely, Joan H. Joan, I'm not going to tell you to stop paying attention. I'm going to suggest that you become much more demanding about how you pay attention, because intelligence and epistemic discipline aren't the same thing. A very intelligent person can construct an extraordinarily sophisticated explanation from unreliable premises. The mind's ability to connect dots doesn't guarantee that the dots belong to the same picture. And right now, you're facing a problem the internet makes unusually difficult. Things that are proven, things that are plausible but unresolved, things that are technically possible, things that are completely unsupported, and things that are simply invented, all arrive through the same screen. They're printed in the same fonts, delivered with the same music, spoken by equally confident voices. After enough exposure, possibility begins masquerading as probability. That's where I'd put the brakes. Let's take some of your examples. The origin of COVID remains incompletely resolved. In its 2025 assessment, the World Health Organization said the weight of available evidence favors zoonotic spillover, while also saying that a laboratory-related accident can't yet be fully excluded because important information remains unavailable. But notice what happens next. An accidental laboratory origin hasn't been excluded is one claim. COVID was a planned experiment is a completely different and much stronger claim. The uncertainty surrounding the first doesn't become evidence for the second. No, there's no credible evidence that birds have broadly been replaced by surveillance drones. There's also no credible evidence that ICE detainees are secretly being collected for Neuralink experiments. Neuralink's registered PRIME study concerns consenting participants with severe paralysis-related conditions. Human beings can induce some earthquakes through activities such as deep fluid injection, mining, and reservoir construction. That fact doesn't establish that recent earthquakes are weapons. Likewise, weather modification has a real history, which makes speculation sound more plausible, but NOAA says no existing technology can create, strengthen, or steer hurricanes. Do wealthy people wield disproportionate political influence? Of course, that's a legitimate subject for investigation. Does that prove governments are secretly directed by hidden fraternities? No. One claim doesn't inherit the evidence belonging to another. And UAPs? Some observations remain unexplained, but unexplained isn't a synonym for extraterrestrial. The Pentagon's All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office has reported that its investigations haven't established that any UAP represents extraterrestrial technology. An unresolved image remains unresolved evidence. It doesn't become proof that humanity's days are numbered because the explanation is incomplete. Human trafficking offers another lesson. People are exploited for forced labor, sexual exploitation, forced criminality, and other purposes around the world. It's absolutely real. But trafficking statistics can describe very different things. Detected victims, reports, investigations, hotline contacts, estimates, or modeled prevalence. Those numbers aren't interchangeable. The UN's 2024 Global Report, for example, analyzed tens of thousands of detected victims across many countries. A detected victim count tells us something important. It doesn't tell us the exact number of all trafficked people everywhere. So the rule is, never let a frightening number become more precise in your imagination than it was in the source. Psychologist Karen Douglas and other researchers have spent years studying conspiracy beliefs. One recurring finding is that they often become attractive when people are trying to satisfy needs for understanding, security, and social meaning under conditions of threat or uncertainty. The cruel irony is that conspiracy explanations don't necessarily satisfy those needs. They can leave the person searching for the next explanation, and then the next. That that sounds very close to what you're describing. You aren't becoming informed, you're becoming epistemically unfinished. Every answer creates 6 more threads. Every unexplained detail becomes evidence that the previous explanation was incomplete. And once that happens, uncertainty itself begins feeling dangerous. So I'd give you a 3-box system. When you encounter a frightening claim, put it into one of 3 boxes. Box 1, established. There's strong evidence from multiple independent sources. Act on it if it matters. Box 2, open. There are legitimate unanswered questions, competing explanations, or incomplete evidence. Keep the question open. Don't force closure. Box 3, unsupported. Someone has made a specific claim without evidence strong enough to carry it. You don't need to disprove it. That's important. The person making the claim carries the burden of proving it. Then ask 3 questions. What exactly is being claimed? What evidence should I require before believing it? And what evidence would make me change my mind? If the answer to that last question is nothing, you are no longer investigating, you're defending a story. And we must always remember that confirmation bias creeps in where it's least desired. Researchers Gordon Pennycook and David Rand have found something almost embarrassingly simple in studies of misinformation. Merely redirecting people's attention toward accuracy can improve discernment about what they share. In other words, before asking, is this terrifying? Is this fascinating? Does this explain everything? Ask, is this true? And Joan, you don't have to investigate every single possibility. That isn't ignorance, that's intellectual triage. There are infinitely many things that could be true. Your responsibility is to proportion belief to evidence. A possibility is not an emergency. An unanswered question isn't a confession. A coincidence isn't automatically coordination. And a mystery doesn't become a conspiracy merely because somebody supplies it with a villain. Stay informed, but choose sources before the frightening claim chooses them for you. Look for primary documents. Look for independent corroboration. Ask whether the source distinguishes what's known from what's suspected, and become suspicious of anyone who explains every missing piece by making the conspiracy larger. That kind of theory can never lose, which means it can never really prove itself either. Joan, the goal isn't to return to a world in which everything feels simple. The world isn't simple, it never has been, and it's probably not going to be anytime soon. Governments lie, companies conceal things, people commit crimes, science changes its mind when evidence changes. Real conspiracies have existed, but that's precisely why we need standards. Skepticism doesn't mean believing nothing, it means refusing to give every claim the same amount of belief. You asked how you'll survive if you stop treating every strange possibility as a warning. I'd reverse that question for you. How well can you navigate reality if every possibility is allowed to become a threat? Your foothold isn't certainty, it's method. If this mailbag made you think differently about conspiracy theories, misinformation, or what it means to stay informed, make that known. Leave a rating or a review, not for recognition, for signal. So keep asking questions. Just remember that a question mark is permission to investigate. It isn't permission to believe. Until next time, remember, you don't become what you feel, you become what you return to, and what you return to returns as you.